Man, camping is for white people. Now, I laugh too when I hear that. But for Idris, it was different. For Idris, hearing this from his brother the first time that he came home and told his family that he was going backpacking, this was a powerful statement about where he belongs, about what he can do, and about the limits that others place on him. Idris would often say, I feel like I don't belong anywhere or to any world. I don't speak my home tongue and therefore I'm not African enough. And my accent, my dark skin, and my foreign name certainly don't make me American enough. You see, Idris's family were refugees from Somalia, and so Idris spent a good portion of his childhood raised in a refugee camp in Kenya. By the time that Idris and his family relocated to San Diego, he had already experienced immense trauma. What he needed in the United States more than anything was a sense of belonging and a supportive community. But instead, what Idris got were limits. What Idris needed more than anything was the ability to be able to surpass or to overcome these limits. He needed a safe, supportive place where he could fail and still pick himself back up. He needed a community around him that lifted him up. Now, I'm here to tell you today a little bit about that place. That place is not a building or a program per se. It's not a campus or a neighborhood. It's as simple as the outdoors. My name is Lesford Duncan, and I'm the Senior Director of Programs at a nonprofit called Outdoor Outreach, based in San Diego. Outdoor Outreach was born out of the fundamental belief that adversity and trauma could be overcome, or at the very least lessened by resilience. Outdoor Outreach introduces over 1,700 youth each year to the transformative power of the outdoors, but in particular, youth who have experienced trauma or adversity at home or in their community, kids who are facing immigration or that are refugees, kids who've experienced immense abuse, exploitation, and trauma. You see, our founder, Chris Rutgers, he too came from an early childhood of trauma. He had experienced immense abuse, neglect, substance abuse in the home. But Chris found his solace and his healing skiing in the majestic mountains of Utah, surrounded by a supportive community who cared about him and who taught him how to care about himself. What he learned there, most important, was resilience. Resilience. What is it? Resilience at Outdoor Outreach, we believe, is achieved when a child taps out for the first time at the top of that rock climbing wall, or when they pop up for the first time on a surfboard. Why? Because we know that in those moments, they recognize that they're much tougher than they thought that they were, and they recognize that they have a positive, supportive community behind them. You see, resilience is then nurtured when that kid then looks back into the gazing eyes of their peers and their instructors, and they know that this challenge too can be overcome, and they recognize that they're also not alone in that challenge. Resilience. Resilience can be built incredibly through outdoor experiences and outdoor challenges. Now, the outdoors can be a pretty scary place. It's full of risk and challenge, great waves, wild animals, dark forest. You see, I'm a backpacker and a trail runner. I've had the opportunity to stand at the summit of Mount Kilimanjaro, the highest peak in Africa, and to trek to Mount Everest Base Camp in Nepal. And I will tell you this, even I get scared when I get stuck on the trail late at night in the dark. Now, before you laugh, How many of you have been stuck in the woods when your headlamp catches on a pair of eyes out in the distance staring back at you? Or how many of you have been lost on a trail as you had to frantically turn your map left, right, upside down to try to find your way? You see, these same fears and uncertainties are the everyday norm for many of the youth that we work with and that we serve. Except, not all of our youth can leave their woods. Idris, the young Somalian refugee, his life was filled with uncertainty as he tried to find his identity and his sense of belonging, find his purpose. But Idris engaged. He joined Outdoor Outreach's Adventure Club at his school, which then led him to join our leadership program. And then after that, his life changed drastically as he was accepted to Stanford University on a full-ride Gates Millennium Scholarship. Now, ironically, probably to Idris's parents and brother, the admissions counselor noted that it was his experience with Outdoor Outreach and the leadership that he took in creating similar opportunities for resilience in the lives of other youth. At Outdoor Outreach, we don't always get to measure our success based on full rides to Stanford. We also see success in a young woman's newfound courage to testify against an abusive family member in court, or a homeless girl advocating for cleaner and safer parks, well, because that's where her and her mom have to live for now. Or a teen told time and time again that she would be a prostitute just like her mother, and she climbed above that limit in the same way that she climbed her first 5'10" rock climbing wall. We see resilience built in each of these narratives, and that's how we measure our success. At Outdoor Outreach, we challenge youth. We place youth in challenging environments and dynamic environments that effectively build their resilience. We teach youth to navigate their uncertainty, to face their fears, to lead with confidence, and to create their own paths out of the woods. And then after that, well, I guess the trail ahead is theirs to blaze. Thank you.